Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to the Inside View Real Estate Podcast. Today, we're going to be talking about if you buy a house, what are you going to do with the thing right now? You're going to rent the thing out? You're going to flip it? What do you want to do? I will see you on the inside. Hey, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, no matter what time it is. I hope that you, my friends, are having an amazing day. I'm here with my awesome host, Josh Zuniga.
Woo.
Today, we're going to get into some really cool stuff. We're going to get into talking about if you buy a house and you were like, hey, I kind of wanted to rent that out originally, but the market's kind of hot. Maybe I should flip that thing. Should I flip it? Should I rent it?
I'm excited about this one.
I'm excited about this one because this is happening a lot right now. I get a lot of questions like, hey, should I be selling my house right now? And I guess it depends. But like in a generic sense, right? You just bought a house. Maybe you bought it in December of 2021. And it is now March of 22. Appreciation, market's hot. Mm-hmm. I mean, are you going to hold it? Are you going to sell it? What are you doing?
My personal opinion?
Yeah.
I'll go back to Papa Pete's wisdom, who's my dad. You know, the first thing he told me, he's like, son, when you start making money, the only thing you need to worry about is retirement. So I've always, the only thing you need to be worrying about is retirement. I was like, don't be stupid with your money. Be smart. Invest it.
Don't buy Lamborghinis.
Don't buy Lamborghinis.
Sorry.
Don't buy stupid. Don't buy silly stuff, right?
Yeah.
Don't buy silly stuff with it. Invest it into your future because it's not just your future, it's your family's future. Like, what are you going to be leaving for them?
Yep.
So I've always had that mindset, in place since I was in high school. So he would break down not only like financials at the age of 16, having read Rich Dad Poor Dad, Rich Dad Poor Dad. What's the difference between assets and liabilities? Here's my rental portfolio. This is how much I make every single month. These are my other investments. He was always showing me that stuff. And I'm starting to show it to my kids now too, having them go and see like, hey, this is a check. This is how much we made for selling this house. I want you to go deposit for me. So I'm making subconscious, deposits into their brain and be like, oh, wow, now I'm in the workforce. Now I know how really hard it is to make $1, right? Because it's not about making your short-term money. It's about knowing how to relax and making residual money and then paying for your lifestyle.
Are you holding?
Yes.
Okay.
I am.
I'm flipping.
So Carl's flipping. I flip also. But like I said, it really depends on who you are and your situation. So I flip properties, but I use that short-term gain and I invest it into a long-term asset.
Okay. So you brought up a really good point. Long-term asset.
Yeah.
So we need to take into consideration taxes.
That's the biggest
And
reason.
I don't want this to get boring or too complicated.
No, people need to hear about this.
If you're flipping, you're generally holding that property for less than a year.
Less than 1 year, yes.
If you hold it for less than a year, then you're going to pay your personal tax rate on the proceeds, the net proceeds, the capital gains, the profit on the house. If you hold it for more than 1 year, it becomes something called long-term capital gains, right? But if you're holding a dang property, it took a year to rehab it, you probably fucked up, is my guess.
Yeah.
But then you're paying either 15% if you make less than $400,000 net, or you're paying 20% if you make over $400,000 net in a given calendar year. So you have to make a decision. Now, Josh is in a long-term game. I like velocity of money, which is turning my money fast. And I like to be able to flip as fast as I can and doing it right. I always do my flips right. Doing it right and then doing it again, and then doing it again, and then doing it again. Because I can take the capital that I profited from, reinvest it, and turn it into more capital. Is that smart? From a tax point of view, absolutely not, because I pay a lot of money in taxes, right? Like, so that's just a consequence of doing business. I'm paying, state tax, and I'm paying federal income tax on all the capital gains that I've made from the profits of those houses. Josh is probably the smarter guy in the room. He's taking his money and putting it into the properties long term. He's depreciating those properties. He's using that as a tax advantage. He's getting cash flow, which turns into equity eventually because he's paying down the balance of the mortgage and the natural appreciation of the properties. So to answer the question, because we'll make this a short one, I guess, today.
Yeah.
Depends.
Depends on you. Depends on your strategy.
If you're smart, you'd probably be able to leverage multiple properties and have multiple properties underneath you, all giving cash flow, right? And then earning equity and using those to depreciate and then offsetting a lot of tax expense for you and reducing your tax liability at the end of the year. If you're like me and you like pain, then you're probably flipping multiple houses in a year, and the velocity of money is helping you build wealth.
Yeah. So even talk about that when you say the velocity. Are you investing that into another property and then another property and then another property and another property?
So we've got it down to where I can usually do a flip inside of about 12 weeks. So the most recent one I did was 5,000 square foot, 5 bed, 6 bath, 10 weeks start to finish, right?
That's cranking, guys. That's not a
That's
normal
not usual.
expectation. Yeah.
But if I can do that, and I can say, okay, look, then I can do 5.2 homes in a year, right? And so a lot of people can't do that. But say if you can do it in 6 months, one every 6 months, you're using that same base capital that you started out with, but you're able to multiply that, and then maybe you can do 2 at once, and then maybe you can do 3 at once, so you can start to speed that process up and scale.
Yeah. And eventually buy some of these for new investors, you can buy those homes cash once you build up that velocity.
And then you're not paying that.
Yeah. So as an example, guys, just exactly what Carl was saying. So say you buy a property, you sell the property, say you make $40,000 or $50,000 on that. Well, if you don't let that hit to your account, there's this thing called what? A 1031 exchange.
Only if you hold it for more than a year.
Only if you hold it for more than a year.
And it can't be your primary residence.
Can't be a primary residence.
Or secondary.
Those are all key things.
Yes.
Okay. But you can take those proceeds and roll it into another property.
Yes.
Start it over again. And now guess what? Now you have 100,000 after property 2. And after property 3, you have 150. And after property 4, you have 200,000.
Yes.
So that's the velocity of money that Carl likes to do, on his method. I do that as well. All right. Just to be clear, I do that as well. But on some of these to where they're significant gains that happen like in 2020 and 2021, that's a large chunk. And I put those into not only 1, but maybe 2 properties at a time. And then because me personally, I do well in my real estate business, just for traditional buying, helping people buy houses and selling houses. So I need a lot of depreciation, on a lot of these properties. I need a lot of write-offs. So I always have that as my long-term strategy that helps my short-term money that I make year over year, make my tax liability a lot less than what it normally should be if I had no write-offs. Yep. So that's my long-term strategy for the investment properties. So we have a total of 6 properties now that we are obviously taking depreciation on, which helps out significantly, right? Each one of those cash flows. At the same time, I'm doing exactly what Carl's doing throughout the year, and I'm just working with the velocity of money, and then I decide whether before the year closes, am I going to take that chunk and put it into more short-term rentals, or am I going to take that chunk and put it into long-term, or am I going to just keep kicking the can down the road and see what we're going to do into the next year?
Yeah, velocity money is a very, very important concept to understand because you can take $1 and you can use that same dollar 4 times inside of a year. So you have $4 buying power with $1. That's important to understand. Yep.
And there's also, we can get down to this on another topic to where you can do the BRRRR strategy.
Yep.
Right?
That's a whole different conversation.
That's a whole nother conversation, but I think we talked about it in 2021. But I think in the coming episodes later, we're going to definitely bring in some of our friends and some guests. They're going to talk more specifically about what BRRRR is and how the strategies.
I love BRRRR.
About it.
I'm kind of doing it right now.
You are doing it right now.
I'm doing it right now.
Yeah.
I love pulling money out of a property because you don't get taxed on loans.
You don't get taxed on debt.
Like and subscribe, dang it. That's a banger right there. You should like and subscribe for that.
We're going to do that.
I will show you how to pull cash out of a property without having to pay tax on it and reinvest that proceeds.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that.
We're going to end it right there, guys. Thank you so much for tuning into the Inside View Real Estate Podcast. We'll see you on the inside on the next episode. Take care. Hey, guys. Thank you for tuning into today's episode. Make sure you like, comment, share, subscribe, do all the things. We want to continue to bring value to you every single episode. But until next time, we'll see you on the inside.